there's some question came up on our page. Someone was like, can you guys talk about what it's like, or how do you live with family members if you can't, like, basically you can't get out of that setup. Like in Bangladesh, a lot of people live with their in-laws families, blah blah blah, and they don't have a choice. They kind of have to live with them. Like, I've never had that situation. I don't even know. Like, have any
Right.
of you guys lived with family or in-laws or anything like that?
Yeah, my ex-in-laws, I mean, not for a long period of time, but they come and go. And when they would come visit, they'd stay for a while. My sister-in-law lived with us for
Oh
like three
yeah.
years
3 years?
almost.
Oh, that's a
Wow.
long time.
That's a long time.
A lot, and we were only married like 6 months.
I hope
Oh
she picked up
wow.
after herself.
I can't. I will refrain saying anything from that
But I think the dynamics was this
experience.
a younger sibling,
Mm-hmm.
little
Oh
bit
no, then
like,
you kind of have to be a parent too.
yeah,
Fucking sucks.
because
Yeah,
I
but you
wonder a
also have
little
to
bit.
be like, you have to balance, what you can say, what you can't say, what you can like. It was not an easy time for
I guess
sure.
that's typically in our culture. Doesn't matter if you're an in-law, but like if it's like a younger, what do you call them? Shalis? I don't know what the girl term
Nice.
is. Not paista, because that's like your chacha. But
Yeah, yeah.
shala shali, it's different because, like, even if you're the in-law or the outsider, you can kind of treat them like your younger sibling and, like, I don't know, not exactly boss them around, but you can tell them, like, hey, clean up after yourself or X, Y, and Z. But like, in obviously we're a little bit more Americanized where we're so formal, I feel like. But I think that's a little different of a dynamic than living with family members who are older, senior, like your parents, in-laws. That's interesting situation.
I cannot imagine. A lot of people actually think there was a little rumor that went around that I got divorced because my in-laws were going to come move in with us, because they did, like, after
Oh.
we split, they came and moved in with my ex-husband. And so we were like, oh, কি শয়তান মেয়ে নিশ্চয়ই এটার জন্যই ছেড়ে দিছে, like, what?
Of all the things that some people can put together, jeez.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, it can work out. I mean, I've had my
Yeah.
mother-in-law come and stay with us kind of periodically for, a few months. And then she'd go and stay with, one of the other family members and then come back and forth. She actually might be coming next month to stay for an undecided amount of time. So, I mean, it's got its positives and its negatives as well. I think negatives in the terms, in the sense of, like, always kind of having to be a little bit formal, because I think it's different when you have your own mom
Yes.
versus,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Totally.
and আমি যতই তাকে, সে আমার অনেক আপন, and I feel like she's like akin to my mom, but at
Yeah.
the same time there's always going to be this one barrier, right? And like that goes the other way too. um ধরো আমার মা কিছু করলে I can just be like, মা এটা কেন করতেছো, stop it, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you might not be able to do that quite with an in-law. But I mean, at the same time, it's nice because she cooks and she picks up after herself. Like, she's older, but she's very, like, self-sufficient.
And super
So,
active.
and
That's
super
nice.
active. Yeah. And then she, like, heats up all the meals and it's just right there in front of you, which is nice.
Yeah, I feel like even like when we had kids and stuff, right? Like when your mom came and stayed to help with the kid was very different than like an in-law coming, because it's
Yeah,
just
for
not the
sure.
same relationship. Like, yeah, I mean, I could
Mhm.
totally yell at my mom, but would never do that to anyone else. So it
Yeah.
is a little different. I think, like, and I'm curious if the person who asked, like, lives here in the States, like abroad, or if this is like in Bangladesh, where it's a very normal
Normal.
Yeah.
setup. A lot of people literally can't afford to live on their own, and so they end up living with their family members, whether that's in-laws or even extended families. Like, that's just pretty normal. Like, I mean, I
And
grew up with my dada dadus, like in, my dad's parents' house, and it was normal. That's what we
Yeah.
did.
It's kind of automatically expected, right? Like
Yeah.
just the notion of
Yeah.
having your parents be sent away somewhere else or living on their own is just so foreign in our
I
in our
mean,
culture.
do they even have nursing homes in Bangladesh?
They're building like an elderly community where you can, like, even we can go and purchase a apartment
A
or
plot.
I think my
not even
mom
a
actually
plot, like
did.
it's a full building, yeah, like a
Yeah. You're right.
and it's just getting started. Like, I know the guy that started it, but imagine, like, and it's coming from a place of like people's kids are moving away
Yeah.
and going out, out of the country. Like, that is no longer the dynamic. So they have
Yeah.
each other,
Uh-huh.
which is great, which is very different from like, I can't, like, there's also the I can't take care of you, or you're, you need to go stay somewhere else. This is actually
Yeah.
like people willingly, but it's only for a certain, I would think,
Oh,
socioeconomic,
yeah.
For
right?
sure.
Everybody.
That's expensive, yeah. Yeah, you're right. That just reminded me of my mom told me, আমি একটা down payment দিয়েছি একটা বিছানার জন্য.
She did?
You can put money down for like, yeah. Because she's I ain't taking care of her.
Oh my God.
I mean, I can't. She doesn't live here. She's like,
Yeah.
to your point, your example is me. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, she's gonna have to I
Down
hope that
payment
becomes
deal.
more common. I've noticed that when I was in New York last time, there's actually, I don't know if you guys know Anton's, which is a very popular
Pizza?
venue for weddings in Long Island.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. I think, yeah. I
So
know where that is.
Anton's are পাশে একটা আছে. It's not like a child daycare. It's for elders, like an elders daycare. I don't know what it's called. I'm explaining it wrong, but
What
it's for
happens
like
there?
I don't know. But like, yeah, it's to take care of elders. But it's a desi place. I think it's like owned by some like Indian person. And yeah, I was like, what a great idea.
Yeah,
Huh.
it is. I mean,
Yeah.
it's true. Like, what do you do all day? Like, you're working all day, kids are in school or whatever.
TV
And if your
देखবে
parents are not
সারাদিন।
available, huh?
Think they just watch TV all day? Like
They probably
women,
watch
girls.
the dramas,
করে।
ZTV দেখে আর Ludo খেলে and
And you have to
পান
get
খায়.
all of those subscriptions before they come to your house, by the way.
Yeah.
Like,
I had to buy a box, dude. Like I had to go to the Indian area and buy whatever the box used to be called,
Yes.
where you can
So
get
with
GTV.
all the channels.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know if there's any other, like, I'm sure if there's so many people now with like dementia, like even like you can't take care of them. There's a certain point where you can, so health concerns and other things. But again, I think that's only for certain, like, people with a certain income that can actually afford it. It's not for everybody.
I mean, even here in the US, like retirement homes, mad expensive. Like monthly, it's like $7,000-8,000.
Yeah.
Not cheap.
What?
It is not cheap. If you want like the full care where there's somebody on call and
Like
all
a
that stuff.
nurse and doctor and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's expensive. So then you're like, geez, gotta like save for all this.
But it's interesting where it's like, I actually heard like a Bangladeshi family here in the States, they had to put their dad in a nursing home. And just hearing that just made me like maybe if it was a context of like an American culture or in Bangladesh, but just hearing that separately just felt like, oh my God, like I can't believe you're, not that it's on it's judgment, but it just made me feel so sad. Like,
yeah,
it's different to think about like your own parents in that situation. Like,
I mean, unless that parent is living with you, like if they're living on their own and you're not really around, like I would much rather be in a nursing home where there are people my age and there are people that I can call and if something
and
happens,
they can take care of you.
Yeah, it's different if it's like, hey, I'm gonna take my mom in or whatever, and they're gonna, she's gonna live with me versus a choice between they're living on their own in an apartment or a house even versus living in like a nursing home.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But it is a huge thing in our culture to say that we did not end up taking care of our family members.
Oh my God, it's like I think Maya was saying. It's not even that you can't afford to live separately. It's expected that you don't.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine just the guilt you hear from little things of like আমাকে দাও দিলো না, like this whole thing of আমার ছেলে চলে গেল, or it's like বউ এসে নিয়ে গেছে না, নিশ্চয়ই কিছু একটা করছে. Like,
I have some gossip.